guys, it's Sapphire Agami with hello guys, it's Sapphire Agami with the review of Once Upon a Time, episode 14th of the fourth season. It's titled Unforgiven. So within starting with the opening sequence, we see a dragon flying through the forest, and so we can start off with the characters' past. And the characters in the enchanted forest pre first curse. Snow White and Charming are riding back to their castle, but Snow says they have to deal with the evil queen first. As they arrive, the couple discovers Sleepy, who is sleeping on guard duty, actually sleeping. They begin to suspect Regina is using a sleeping spell on everyone in the castle. They call out for Regina only to have Maleficent appear to admit her doing, and then introduces Cruella and Ursula, and tells them that they're not there to fight but to make a deal. The queen tells Snow and Charming that Regina just stole the darkest curse from Maleficent, the one that was traded for the sleeping curse, telling them about the Tree of Wisdom, and they can tell them how to defeat the queen and the curse, but it will only answer to two of the most valiant heroes. They offer them a map and say they will escort them to the tree. Snow says if this is true, they could defeat the evil queen, but then she tells Charming that while they are worse as Regina, they agree they have no choice but to go with them. Later that evening, Charming tells the ladies they can't cross a heavily guarded bridge with them, so they suggest that Charming and Snow use their swords. Then they notice Maleficent is missing, only to discover that she has transformed into a dragon and attacks the men guarding the bridge. Charming says Snow should have given them another chance to talk to them, but decided to trust them for now. As they reach the location of the Tree of Wisdom, Snow and Charming sneak away on their own, and after they discover the Tree of Wisdom, they each place a hand on a designated rock nearby, and they ask how to stop the evil queen's curse. The tree lights up with gold and then red, and they are blown backward, and wonder why it didn't answer, leading Maleficent to believe it is a trap, telling Snow and Charming they must not be as valiant as they thought. As Snow and Charming attempt to leave, Maleficent prevents them until they figure out why the tree refused to answer them, only to learn that Snow is pregnant, as Maleficent discovers the reason behind the refusal from the tree. She tells them that while they may be heroes, their daughter will not be, despite being a product of true love, with the potential to become either good or evil, and could become the darkest villain the realm has ever seen. Maleficent tells the ladies to leave them be, as she wants to see them witness their suffering. Maleficent then visits Snow's palace. Snow awakens and sees Maleficent by her bedside. She attempts to wake Charming, but Maleficent has him under a sleeping curse. She is really good with those sleeping curses, ain't she? Maleficent tells Snow that they're both expecting children, and that they need to work together to stop Regina and the dark curse from harming their children and the land. Snow declines Maleficent's offer due to the latter being a villain, and tells her that they will not turn to darkness to ensure the safety of the kingdom. Meanwhile, in the storybook, the return of the queens are giving Mary Margaret and David a lot more to worry about. At their apartment, Mary Margaret rolls over in her sleep and finds that David is not in bed. So she calls out to him, and then she gets up as she hears Neil crying, only to be startled to see Maleficent, Cruella, and Ursula. Maleficent then magically takes Neil and holds him, and reminds Mary Margaret that the truth of what she did to her hangs over his head, and says when she's done, Mary Margaret won't have a family left. However, it turns out to be a dream, as Mary Margaret awakes from her nightmare and goes to check on her son. Then she finds David sitting on the stairs drinking whiskey, saying he is struggling to sleep with the new villains in town as well, as they attempt to come up with a plan to make the queens leave Storybrooke before their secret is revealed. The following morning, Cruella and Ursula wait at the counter for service from Granny, but is ignored by her as Granny Gills will prompt service instead. When we see Regina coming in, they ask her to get Granny to serve them and remind her of her formerly wicked ways in front of Henry. After Regina sends Harry off, she tells them if they bring up her past sins in front of Henry again, she will personally kick them out of town herself. They head out after they get the message. As David and Mary Margaret walks in and sees the exchange, Regina tells them that they don't need to be worried about them since she has other things on her mind. They are later joined by Emma and Hook, who is startled by Ursula as she is aware of her past with Killian Jones, leaving Emma very concerned about how much Ursula knows about the former pirate. The presence of the queens leads to a suggestion by David to have Emma keep an eye on him. At Gold's pawn shop, The queens get an unwelcome greeting from Belle, but Cruella tells Belle that she and Ursula are just here to congratulate her on defeating the Dark One and to look for a hood ornament. In actuality, they are using a conversation and Belle's distraction to check the inventory of in the back of the shop to retrieve a box via Ursula's tentacles. After it is acquired, they text Gold and head to the cave where he is hiding. After Dave and Emma sees the queens leave the shop, Emma calls Belle to ask why they were there. When Belle mentions that a box disappeared from the shop, the two chase after the ladies. After they are stopped, Dave searches the vehicle and discovers that the box contained a jewel bauble. However, David lies to Emma, saying there was nothing in the car. Emma suggests that they go back to the shop to check the footage, but David asks her to drop him off at the loft, where he then informs Mary Margaret that they are planning to bring back Maleficent through a resurrection spell, which gives Mary Margaret a plan to keep her from coming back to life. Meanwhile, back at the station, Emma sees Hook bring her back lunch while looking at the ATM camera and asks Hook about how well he knows Ursula, but tries to pass it off as a past encounter, which wasn't the answer Emma was looking for as he leaves. Later on, Emma sees David and Mary Margaret gather supplies for a hike. In actuality, they're using these supplies to hunt down Ursula and Cruella's whereabouts. And she shows them the footage of the queen still in the box. But David lies to her about why they want the box, with Mary Margaret telling her daughter that even though they were villains in the past, they should be given a shot to change their ways, with David suggesting Emma to back off for now. As the Charmings check the cave tunnels and stumble upon Maleficent's ashes, they are knocked down by Ursula's tentacles, allowing Cruella to slice their hands to take a sample of the blood, which is revealed by them to be the ones who wronged Maleficent in the past. Then pours it on Maleficent's ashes. It turns out that the stolen box was bait to lure the two into a trap as planned by Gold. The ashes then swirl until a dragon is formed and crashes forward towards the ground, and Maleficent reappears in human form. As Mary Margaret sees Maleficent and tries to calm her down, Cruella intervenes. Maleficent informs Mary Margaret that she is not worried about their secret, since her goal is to see her family suffer and revel in their pain until the time comes when they meet again. After the reunited queens disappear, David tells Mary Margaret it's time to tell Emma the truth. Meanwhile, Emma is still pressing Hook about his past with Ursula and admits that they had an ugly history. While Emma believes she can trust Hook to tell them when the time comes, she begins to start questioning her parents' motives, and they hear this. They then come into the office with news that Maleficent has reappeared in Storybrooke, giving Emma more concern about the Queen's plan for revenge, with Mary Margaret reminding Emma that they're heroes and the Queens are villains. While this is going on, Regina and Henry are checking the fairy tale book to find clues to find the author's identity. They then come across additional pages about Pinocchio, suggesting that before he reverted back to his form as a normal boy, August Booth may have known about the author. Regina decides to bring both the boy and Marco into the office. When Emma stops by to see Regina, she asks her to see if he can remember his life before returning to a boy, but Pinocchio has no memory of being August, and Regina snaps at him, infuriating Marco. As Emma takes the boy to get a snack, Marco asks why she deserves to have an happy ending, but then reminds him that he lied his way into bringing Pinocchio into our world. Marco warns Regina to stay away from Pinocchio, but hours later she stops by Marco's shop to talk to Marco instead and to apologize. Marco then reveals that before August reverted back to Pinocchio, he had left a bag that he gives to her, which could provide more clues. Henry later discovers a page about the author in August's stuff. At the end of the town limits, Regina meets with Mary Margaret to come up with a plan to find out why the queens are plotting and suggests that Regina get close to them. As Regina asks Mary Margaret about the reason for this, Mary Margaret tells her that back in the Enchanted Forest, they made a deal with Maleficent that resulted in her betraying the sorceress. It turns out that because of this secret, that Emma was born with the potential for great darkness, and they took a step to prevent their daughter from turning evil. Regina asks why she can't tell her, and Mary Margaret says the same reason Regina doesn't want Henry to know about all the things she's done in her life. And if Emma learns the truth, it could turn her towards the path of darkness. At the same time, Gold watches Belle from the window of a pawn shop and is stunned to see Will kissing his former wife, while Maleficent puts together a totem and conjures up a baby rattle. Mary Margaret tells Regina that the betrayal caused Maleficent to lose her child. So in this episode, we get the sense that, that not all the heroes are actually good. They have some dark secrets as well, and that as we learned from previous seasons that villains are not born, that they are made. So in this situation, Maleficent obviously was going to have a baby, and due to whatever Charming and Snow did, she no longer has a child. So now she, of course, as she is known as the mistress of all evil, she is going to exact her revenge on these two. And not only that, but there's also a history with Ursula and Hook, which would kind of make sense since, you know, Ursula is like lives in the ocean. Hook is a pirate. You know, he always searches, you know, always on the seven seas. So, and obviously there's also some sort of history between these two. So we can't wait to get to that. And with Regina being asked to go undercover, will I guess you say, will the evil queen actually come out? I guess you could say, you know, will Regina slowly turn to her dark ways? Because at this point, it's like a lot of stuff that Snow has done has caused a lot of effing problems. Like, for one, the reason the first curse wasn't acted was because Snow as a kid couldn't keep a freaking secret. That was the whole reason for the first season, and we got into that thing because Snow couldn't keep his mouth closed as a child. What's another thing? Which season was it? I think it was season 2. Yeah, I think season 2. Snow White kills Cora. The same goal. She kills Regina's mom, which makes Regina want to kill her again. So it's like a lot of the stuff tends to go right back to Snow White, and because she thinks she's doing something out of the goodness of her heart, but then she has to deal with the consequences of her actions. So a lot of stuff is actually going right back to Snow. So it's like, well, damn. Snow? This is like, dang, this is not the story I grew up with. But I love it though. You definitely get to see all these things with these characters. You get to see all these developments. So I can't wait for the next one. This Sunday will be titled Enter the Dragon. Then the season episode of that will be titled Poor Unfortunate Souls. So obviously we'll get more about Maleficent and what exactly did the Charmings do to prevented that had Maleficent lose her child. And not only that, what is the history between Hook and Ursula? And hopefully we get to see Ariel and Prince Eric. Well, more Ariel, and actually see Prince Eric for, you know, actually see him more too in the episode Poor Unfortunate Souls. So I'm guessing that has to do with Ursula giving the title of the thing is Poor Unfortunate Souls. You know, and how did she go from being a goddess that was loved by all citizens under the sea to being the sea witch that we know her to be? So it's gonna definitely be interesting. So comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.